Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is a surprise appearance by our lovely Dr. Arjun Pai, and this is a video that just came out of like a fluke. I posted something on my Facebook page, and Dr. Pai responded to my email, and it was regarding the alignment of Sirius, Sun, Earth, Moon, just on the 8th of August, and our conversation started from there, and then he went into really great stuff about Jupiter now moving into Virgo, how many light workers will be coming, people volunteering into healing. So we're going to talk about all this magical stuff, which is pretty much that process of ascension that I've been talking about. So I'm going to let him take over and systematically show you what, he wants to talk about. So what is happening in the sky, my man?
That's great, Kapil. This is at a very short notice. It was just yesterday, maybe a couple of hours ago, I would say 8 hours ago, that we decided we're going to do this video. So, what led me to do this video is your post on saying, talking about the alignment of, Sirius, Earth, Sun, Moon. So this reminded me that I did a post to the course participants of the 2 batches that I ran on Nakshatras. And this was about a month ago. And there I was talking about Sirius and some concepts related to Sirius, the star Sirius. And then I could, when I saw this post, I said, oh, hang on, there should be some link there. And I started, researching further down and drilling down. And I knew that what had happened the day you posted it, Saturn had gone stationary, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that, what does it signify? Whenever Saturn or any of these larger planets like, Jupiter goes stationary, what does it mean by stationary is it's still in its retrograde motion, but it has almost come to a standstill, right? And it will start moving in the forward direction in the next couple of days. So typically what happens is about 5 days before a Saturn transit and 5 days after the Saturn transit is when the Saturn becomes largely stationary. Okay. So what does that signify is if you look at Jupiter, again, Jupiter is going to change a sign today. Right? And Saturn will do it in the next couple of days, which is, I think, roughly around the 13th. It's going to go direct.
Yeah.
13th of August. So what do stationary planets do or stationary grahas do? Is whenever, say, for example, Saturn roughly takes, I think, about 180 days in retrogression, and it takes about 10 days it is stationary. And similarly, you see with Jupiter, I think it's about 140 days Jupiter goes retrograde, and you would see about 8 days Jupiter is stationary. Okay, but the other planets, you wouldn't see that impact so much because it's either 3 or 2 days. Whenever you come to Venus, Mercury, Mars, I think would be about 5 to 6 days. Same with Venus, about 4 days. And Mercury, it could be stationary for a couple of hours or as far as a day. So their movement or their stationary motion is usually not very much visible, but whenever it is Saturn and Jupiter, they become quite significant. Why? So if you look at the time and space compounding, is we're talking about time into space is what is evolving. The universe is just expanding.
You're talking about a time-space continuum.
Continuum, yeah, that's right. Okay, so time is your Saturn, which is Kal.
Yeah.
In Vedic system, we call it Kal. Kal means time. Okay, the period. And space, the ether, is Jupiter. Right? It's the space which is expanding, and that is why you see the natural tendency of Jupiter is to expand. Okay, so whenever you look at these two, now imagine that in this equation, your time has come to a standstill, it is constant, right? And whenever time comes to a standstill, it looks as though the Saturn is still. It means Saturn is not registering the karmas that have been happening here. It's as though you've been given a holiday. Saturn says, for the next 10 days, I'm not going to look at what karmas you've done in the past, what karmas are going to happen. I'm going to give you this grace period. Use this grace period.
So we just go all kinds of naughty shenanigans in this thing.
No, so this is exactly what. This is why people do not want to come and talk about stationary planets, and nobody has. People must have done it, but what I'm saying is, if I tell you that all your karmas are not being registered now, right? So, but that gives you the impetus to do better karmas, because whenever Saturn starts going direct, although he might not have registered this, but he knows what is going to happen. So this is a very great period, because his focus is very, very active now on the houses that he casts his aspects on. Okay, 3rd, 7th, and the 10th houses. Mm-hmm. So that would be Capricorn, that would be Taurus, and that would be Leo. Okay, and now because Jupiter is going to leave his royal throne room, or the royal house, Leo. So there is a lot of activity that you will see at the tail end of Leo, which is your Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, because you have a stationary Saturn aspecting it, and a very powerful Jupiter is just on its final leg to leave.
Yeah, Leo. That's right. They're both at the very end of both the cycles.
Yeah. Both of these cycles. So you can see that Leo, wherever it falls in your chart, would have, will show you a lot of activities in that house. So if it is your 7th house, it could be relationships, business partnerships, or whatever you're looking at. Mm-hmm. If it's the 1st house, again, it's yourself. If it is the 10th house, your karmas, So those activities will be magnified over the next couple of days. And because what is Jupiter? Jupiter in transit, Jupiter is the free will. Right? Jupiter signifies free will. So whenever Jupiter walks into any house, the free will of that house is activated, which means it is your individual efforts. Jupiter will help you expand those. Okay? But it is your efforts, it's free will. So those houses where Jupiter is transiting and those houses where Jupiter will aspect will gain a lot of prominence in this coming year. So what are those houses? Now it's going to move into Virgo, right? And it's going to aspect your Capricorn, where already you have a stationary Saturn already is aspecting. So there's double transit on Capricorn. So Capricorn becomes very, very, very important. And the second house where it's going to aspect with this 9th aspect, Jupiter, is Taurus.
Yeah.
And you have your Saturn 7th aspect, a stationary Saturn aspecting this house. So these two houses becomes very, very, very important, over the course of the next 6 months. Until, your Saturn goes into Sagittarius. Yeah. And then Virgo becomes the most important house. So this is the time when you start seeing that more and more people would start getting, attracted towards healing, because 6th house is about illnesses, okay, and healing. So healing activities, people getting involved with Ayurveda, ancient systems, trying to learn about Vedic concepts. You want to come and meet somebody and go and clarify your concepts. So everything related to, occult secret sciences would have heightened activity, right? Because Saturn is stationary in the natural 8th house of the zodiac, which is Scorpio.
Right? Is it strange that even from last year onwards, I feel like universe is sending me people in consultation that have all the alignments to be either a healer, Ayurvedic doctor, holistic healer. pranic healer. I'm seeing so many Sastabisha nakshatra and Ashwani nakshatras in people's charts, Mula nakshatras in people's charts. I'm like, man, I think God is just sending people to me so I can tell them this is what you're doing. So
I think that is good, Kapil. You know why? Because I think it's also you are going to guide them in the right direction. You know, so this is an awakening which is happening. Okay, it's not happening. It's happening everywhere. Okay, we do not realize that. So anyway, so let us get started with today's lesson. I'm going to talk a little bit about this thing about the post that I did about a month ago. My course participants on Sirius.
Okay.
And then what I want to do is I said I'm going to talk about a unique nadi method on transits that I learned from Professor A.V. Sundaram. Okay, he did a nadi lecture about 2 years ago with Saptarashi's astrology, and that's where he taught this technique. It was just a pass-by trick technique. I don't think many of them who have attended this course would have also latched onto it and would have understood what he was trying to say, because it was a question somebody asked and then he showed it with this technique. It was a transit technique, and I'm going to say that usually what happens is everybody looks at transits from in India, they look at from the moon.
Yeah.
Although I would still say, look at transits from the ascendant, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
But having said that, also, see, moon. Why would you say you wouldn't look at transits from the moon? Is because there are so many people who would have been born in the same nakshatra around that period, and relatively, moon is not going to move that fast. So there would be,
Also, another thing was that back in the days, people didn't have methods of registering time.
And also
Clocks 2,000 years ago, like we do now.
Correct. And also to fix the lagna, until there was a proficient guy with a good panchang, ephemeris, he could really look at the lagna. So that is why a quick method was to look at the moon.
Yeah.
Right. But now with the softwares that we have, which can automatically look at the lagna, I think lagna would be the most appropriate way to look at transits. But even having said that, with the transits, with the lagna, you can say there are thousands and millions of people who would have the same lagna. So is that the events that are going to pan out in everybody's life is going to be the same?
No.
So that actually led me to think much more deeper, that even though your lagna might be Aries or Taurus, but your age should actually decide what the results are going to be.
Oh, okay.
Right? And this technique, so this technique, I'll come there and I'll explain to you. But before that, let's go into this.
I think I got it, but I still want to see it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you got it. I know. I think we discussed this some time ago. So yeah. So obviously it is on the basis of Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati. It's BCP.
Exactly.
But I will show you exactly, because you're getting two houses. It's not, and there is a slight variation in the BCP technique. It's the same technique. It's the nadi technique. But here you're not getting one house. You're getting actually two houses in the transit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
so
Yeah.
So you get two points that you can look at, and those houses in your chart will be most significant for that entire year. So all activities, majority of them, you would see that all the significations of those two houses become very prominent in that particular year. And those houses would be very specific to you and you only, depending on the age and your lagna. So that is how you're trying to change the whole lookout of how you're going to look at transits, right?
Okay.
Before we it's a very simple technique. Okay, you'll get there. But let me share my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Kapiel, this is something that I share with my course participants. And I was watching this movie, The Truman Show, right? And what happens is the plot of the movie is a spotlight used to imitate the light of a star. which is Sirius,
Mm-hmm.
falls down. Truman Show was a reality show. Okay, it was a movie on the reality show. I don't know whether you watched this movie.
Oh, I love this movie. This is
Yeah.
one of my best favorite movies.
Yeah. So it is about this movie where, Truman lives in it's a reality show, but he lives in a fake world, right? Everybody around him are actors. Everything around him is an illusion. And it is this light which falls from the sky and almost nearly misses hitting him. And this starts awakening, he starts reasoning, questioning, trying to ask himself, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I can see the same person standing there and reading the newspaper every morning. I can see the same sort of actors who are around me.
Yeah.
So it was, and this picture here, it shows, if you can see here, it is Sirius. It's 9 Canis Major. That is a star, right? Now, even if you look at the number 9, in numerology, 9 is the number of God. So all numbers, whenever they add up to 9, it shows the universal principle of God, 9. Mm-hmm. So you have 108 malas that you do, or rosary that you have for chanting.
Yeah.
1 plus 8 adds to 9, right? So this was the initiation which happened. Okay, so it is something similar. What is happening is, whenever you have Sirius, which is called the initiation star, right? It is called it's in the constellation. It's called the dog star in the constellation of Canis Major. So in the ancient times, this star, the Vedic people called it Mruga Vadhya.
Okay.
Mruga Vadhya means, the meaning is the one who slayed the deer. Okay, the hunter, the one who slayed the deer. Mruga means deer. Vadhya means one who slayed, who killed the deer. Okay, who shot the deer. Mm-hmm. So this is a reference to none other than Rudra or Shiva, the hunter. Okay. So this initiation star, whenever it comes aligned with, the luminaries and the earth, it starts bringing in true knowledge out, and people would start seeking moksha or spiritual wisdom, right? It is as though this movie it says we are living in a materialistic world, which is only an illusion, which is a maya, right? And we are just like Truman, running like headless chicken.
That is so true. Wow.
Right? But then you need a Canis Major, a 9 Canis Major, like a Sirius star coming and trying to initiate you and bring you back to the right path.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be in any form, any shape. It could be in the form of a guru. It can be in the form of inner awakening that is going to happen, in the form of you being drawn to holistic sciences, you being drawn to pranic healing, you being drawn to Vedic astrology, you being drawn to, all these things which are ancient.
Yeah.
Chinese medicine, all of these are somewhere they are awakening. There is an initiation that has already started.
Wow.
Right? Now, look at this Masonic artwork, right, which is depicting.
I remember you sending me something with that Masonic art.
Yeah. So the Masonic art, if you can see here, there's a pillar on the left with the sun at the top. And the Masonic art shows there is moon at the top of another pillar, and the middle there is an eye.
Right.
So the middle pillar. So actually, this is an art which shows the alignment of the luminaries with this eye.
Okay.
Middle pillar is representing that. So this middle pillar and the eye represents the perfected man, or Horus. This is an Egyptian concept. And Horus was the son of Isis and Osiris.
Okay.
So this was called as the eye of Horus. And it is an indication towards Sirius, which, today people call it is Betelgeuse, which represents Ardra Nakshatra. Mm-hmm. But there was a time when Sirius was considered associated with Ardra Nakshatra. And eventually what happened is Sirius is so very far away, and Betelgeuse is so, relatively closer in the zodiac belt. The ancients started considering Betelgeuse as, Ardra Nakshatra. But actually it is Sirius because it's the brightest star that you can see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the association I'm showing you with this Eye of Horus and the perfected man, and its association with Sirius.
Yeah.
It's again some sort of an initiation. It was the Masonic people had interpreted it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you look at this pyramid of Giza, you can also see that the three main pyramids in Giza are all aligned along the zodiac belt. You can see there is perfect alignment of the three main pyramids, and the alignment you see with the zodiac belt. There are three stars here, and there is a perfect alignment. And what you can see is the Sirius is aligned in a way that it maps with the Queen's chamber. Okay, so you can see that. Again, that is a.
How come it's like underneath the arc, though? Is this some symbolism, or is that just?
Well, which one?
You know how Sirius is not on that D arc? Is that something?
Yeah, it is. I didn't see that. Maybe this is how it looks in the night sky. So
okay.
Sirius might be a little bit closer than what you see from the zodiac belt. So
I see.
That could be something that, this is what I got it from the internet. So I do not really, it doesn't have any meaning. So again, you see the Sirius is aligned with the Queen's chamber. And again, you have the King's chamber, which is aligned with your Orion belt, which is, Orion. The word Orion comes from Osiris, and Sirius is Isis, the queen, of Egypt. So you see this association again in the sky over Giza. This was about 2500 BC. This is what the sky looked like.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something we're talking about 4,500 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
Now, observe the pyramid on the American dollar bill. It's again the pyramid with an eye at the top. And many of the scholars have interpreted this as Sirius.
Really?
Yeah, the Eye of Horus. So this is again an interpretation. And why you think you would be carrying this is again because millions of people carry the American bill in their wallets. Okay, so it's an initiation. Maybe the ancients wanted to ensure that there was initiation happening all the time. Let the true knowledge come out.
I thought this was more of a thing to keep the true knowledge in because they think it's the thing with the Illuminati.
Yeah, it is the Illuminati thing. Yeah. But it was construed differently because it is still the Eye of Horus. What you still see, but how these Illuminatis have interpreted it is very different. Right? They wanted to keep the knowledge within.
Yeah.
It was still initiating them. This was the star, which is Sirius, which was initiating them and giving them a lot of true knowledge and wisdom. Okay. So you would find many theories on this. So that is okay. People would have different variations of what they understand from this. But I'm just trying to show you that this thing here is again about initiation, the star Sirius, right? And millions of people carry them in the wallets today.
Yeah.
Although it's an Illuminati image, but people have not understood the meaning of the eye. Now, if you look at the Eye of Horus, it also signifies the Agnya Chakra, that is the third eye. So whenever you said in your post saying that when these things come, there is awakening of the third eye, I could instantly connect and see that, there is a geometrical symbolism of the eye. Okay. And if you go and look at the brain, you take a cross section of the brain and you look at the brain, you would see the pineal gland. Okay. And you would see the cerebral, I think what is called cerebral cortex.
Cerebellum,
Yeah, whatever.
and medulla.
Yeah, yeah. So all of these, and this is the hypothalamus. So you can see exactly this picture matches with that image of what you see. And what you see here is the eye is actually your pineal gland.
Okay.
Okay. So what these Egyptians were talking about is always about awakening of the third eye.
Wow.
Right. So I haven't got that image, but if you put that image, the cross section of the brain, you can almost see this eye, the eye structure. Very similar. So this is the hypothalamus, and this is your pineal gland, and this is where is the seat of your guru, the inner guru that you have. Everybody wants to seek a guru outside when they don't realize that the guru is within you. Okay.
Right.
So that is why ancients has always looked at activating their kundalini, is that Shakti, is to see if they can bring that initiation happen. Okay, it's the serpent which runs through your spine, goes up to your, goes beyond your Agna chakra and goes to a Sahasrara chakra.
Yeah.
Okay, but you need to go through a qualified master to understand and learn these principles in much more depth. I'm just talking very superficially because I'm not being initiated into Kundalini and I do not know. I only know that this is what the third eye awakening means. Is somewhere you're trying to, and when the third eye is awakened, your intuition powers just goes 100 times, right? Or 1,000 times. Yeah. So it depends on the spiritual aspirant, how much he wants to expand his intuitive powers, and awakening of the pineal gland or activating of the pineal gland is what starts the journey of accelerating your evolution, your spiritual evolution, your understanding of how the universe is operating. Then you don't need to go to Jyotish. You will understand what the planets are trying to. The planets will start speaking to you. They'll start interacting with you. Okay. So then you would say all these rules in astrology it doesn't matter to me because I become a siddha. Siddha means spiritual master.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So this is again what we call as awakening of the third eye of Rudra, which is Mragavidha, which is liberator of all our sins. And that is why whenever you chant the great mantra that we say is Mahamrityunjay. Okay, it grants health and longevity, as Saturn and Yama are under the control of Mrityunjaya. Mrityunjaya means victory over death. Okay, it is a Mahamantra, Mrityunjaya Mahamantra, right? And that is awakening of your third eye will give you, you can conquer over death. When you say conquer over death, what does it mean? It means that, see, your mortal body is something that has to die, right? One day. But your soul never dies. It is never destructible.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you become immortal. Immortality of the soul. So that is what it means. Granting health, longevity, and Saturn and Yama are under the control of Mrityunjay. So this is
Mrigyun, what is it name?
Mrityunjay? Right?
What is the name that you're saying? Mrityunjay?
Yeah, Mrityunjay is another name for Shiva.
Shiva, okay, I was going to ask you that. I'm like, because he had the image of Shiva and...
Yeah, so it is a third eye of Shiva that you can see here. And Mrityunjay is a form of Shiva who is worshipped for granting you boons on health and longevity. And that is why you see, I say, the association will come with awakening of people, healers, people who want to do, sciences, pranic healing, people who want to heal the world.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people who will come out who want to do these things. Right? One of the most powerful mantras in the Vedas which has been given it's called Mahamrityunjay mantra. Okay?
Where does Gayatri mantra falls in within the level?
See, Gayatri mantra is also another Mahamantra, right? I've done a beautiful video. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can see that video on the how to activate the Gayatri through mudras. I have to do another video, part 2, on showing you the mudras. Mudras are hand, signs.
Like I know how Om Bhur Bhava Swaha meaning is talking about the different loka. Om Bhur is one of the
lower
loka
loka.
Bhavas, and then Swaha is the highest of lokas. It's like mantra about how the soul is going and taking place and then coming back.
Absolutely. It refers to, the sun, whenever it is rising, whenever it is at the middle, in the middle of the day, it looks as if it's in the, the sky, and then it's in the heavens. So that is the significance. Okay. Anyway, I've given the description of the entire Gayatri mantra because, see, why it's called a Maha Mantra? There are 24 Bija mantras involved in Gayatri.
Mm-hmm.
And each of these Bija mantras have multifold more Bijas involved. So what they say, some of the ancients said, there are 70 crore mantras embedded in the Gayatri. Okay. So I think it is, so it's a very powerful, important mantra. You can go and watch that video. I've also talked about how mantra as a science, how you can chant, and there are 7 things, and you also have to meditate on the rishi who has given you that mantra, and he sits here. He sits on the chakra, the crown chakra.
Okay.
You can watch that video anyway. So. What I wanted to show you is whenever you read about Jupiter moving into Virgo, you have to read about the natural 6th house, right? And there is no better place to go and read about them than to go to classics. So there are so many classics. You can go on each of them and you can decipher. So Saravali, okay, for the 6th house, it says Ari, which means foes, enemies, digestive system, diseases, enemies, and disputes. Okay, Bhrigu Sutra talks about sickness, diseases, nursing, food, service, employees, subordinates, servants, tenants. Okay, intense anguish and litigation. Now, all these concepts, why you should understand is these are the areas of your life which would show, a lot of awakening which will happen. This is a universal concept. It's not individualistic concepts. So if you look at the 6th house, what is 6th house? 6th house shows acute illness or acute disease, right? Now, if you're a healer, your 6th house has to be strong because your diagnostics, which means trying to diagnose what the disease is, has to be strong. Your ability to nurse and to understand what the problem statement of the client is, okay, diagnose what it is. So your 6th house has to be strong, okay? 8th house is related to chronic diseases. So once you understand what you've diagnosed what it is, you will be able to administer the right medicine, right? And if you see, the 12th house is often associated with hospitalization. So the healer would find the cure or the healing, the complete healing happens because of 12th house. So a good healer should have a very strong 6th, 8th, and 12th house, or their lord should be favorably placed. That is when you are called an excellent healer or an excellent doctor.
One thing intrigued me was police station comes under the 8th house.
Yeah, see, this is, why did I give that is, see, what happens is in everybody's life, whenever you have a bad 6th house, so that is the first level of fight. And that is where you say somebody is an enemy or there's a dispute, right? And what happens next is, after the fight, if the fight doesn't, if it doesn't dissipate there, it can aggravate and then it goes to a police station, and that is the 8th house.
Okay.
Right? Or a litigation in court, which it goes further. Now, if it is proven that this person is guilty, that is when the punishment happens, that is the 12th house is activated.
Okay, I see.
Okay. So these are this. And what I wanted to show you is the same with the concept of the 6th house. 6th house is loan.
Yeah.
Right? It's your debt. Right?
Yeah.
It could be debts that you have taken from somebody from this lifetime in terms of monetary. Whenever you say loan, you're taken a loan in terms of money, right?
Yeah.
But there could be debts of many kinds. Okay, debt to your father, debt to your mother, debt to your sister, your brother, debt to your uncles from your previous lifetime, because you've taken something from them. It might not be in cash, it could be in kind, right? But what is sixth house? Sixth house shows credit. It shows unsecured loans that you take. Eighth house usually shows mortgage. If you buy a house and your house is the collateral against the loan, so it becomes a secured loan.
Okay.
Right? And when you are unable to repay off your loans, that is when the 12th house becomes activated and you become bankrupt, or you declare yourself bankrupt. So bankruptcy. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? And now what I've said is, if you look at the bottom, it is your anatomy, your physiology, right? So this house is your small intestine. What does the small intestine do? It absorbs all the nutrients, okay? Whatever the body requires, and rejects whatever is not required and sends it to the large intestine.
Okay.
Which is the 8th house. So remember, whenever you have a lot of problems coming in life, check whether your body is speaking of those problems, or the problems which might be coming. Usually your body shows up. So whenever I say upset tummy or something, or you have, so that might be an indication. So it is better that you heal yourself internally, naturally, right? Your intestine, or give it rest so that you detoxify and get rid of those toxins in the body, right? Large intestine is a waste. Okay, it absorbs only the water, and the rest is a waste. So 8th house is always related to what your body doesn't require. What are things that you do not require is the 8th house. And finally, 12th house is exit, we say, because that is the anus, which is excretion. Those are things that you do not require.
I thought that was the 8th house, the actual anus.
No, anus is, as per astrology, it would be connected to the 12th house. And that is why you see most of the yogis, they say there is a concept of how your soul is going to live will actually decide what would be your next birth. So at what chakra are you going to, your soul is going to leave this earthy plane, will decide what level of rebirth you will be going into. So many of them, they say, people do not want to leave their soul through the anus, because then you will have a lowly life, rebirth. That is what the karmic principles say. So most of the yogis want to be elevated, and they want to leave from the crown chakra. They break open the crown chakra and then they leave.
Okay.
Right? So you have a very highly evolved soul which is going to take a rebirth. Okay? Anyway, so these are concepts which I wanted to share with you, because when you start looking and understanding transits, you have to understand the houses. Okay, you have to understand Virgo, you have to understand Scorpio, read about them, read about the basics, read about the houses or the natural zodiac. That will give you a lot of insight on what you're interpreting and how things are going to pan out.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is why I would discourage people from looking at your weekly horoscopes and charts, whatever are posted, because those are too generalistic for you to take anything from. Your sun sign, your moon sign, your Rashi predictions, those are very, very too generalistic. It cannot be true. Right? Now, here is a method that I'm going to teach you today, what I learned from A.V. Sundaram. Okay? Now, the technique is very, very simple, and there is a slight variation from Bhigu Chakra Paddhati. Okay? So let us take your ascendant is Sagittarius. Okay? So when you completed the first year and you're in the second year, your first house is what is active. Okay? So what you've completed, what you've finished, so that end. And similarly, the second house from there, right? The third house. So your third house becomes, if it is Sagittarius, third house becomes Aquarius. Pisces, fourth house, fifth house. And likewise, you complete the entire, and you come to the 12th house. Yeah. 12th house is the 12th year that you have completed. Okay? It is not the exact BCP, because BCP takes the running year, whatever you're running.
Yeah.
Here, whatever you're completed. So that is the only difference that you see in the system that I'm talking about, right? And yeah, go ahead. You wanted to ask me something?
Okay, so wait, what is the difference again?
See, the difference is in BCP, whenever you take what year you are running.
And
right?
You make that the ascendant, the house.
Yeah. Make that as the ascendant, whatever you're running. Here, you take whatever you have completed. So, which means, so your 10th year, whenever you've completed your 10th year, which means you've completed your 10th year, okay, BCP will take the 11th house is operating because it's the 11th year, which is running.
Yeah.
But for this technique, we'll be still taking the 10th house because you completed 10 years.
Okay.
Do you get the difference?
That's a very, very thin lined difference because.
See, let us say you're born in 2000, the year 2000 in January, 1st of January 2000, right? Now, if I'm talking about today, if I have to do, it is 2016. We are in August, isn't it? So that means you've completed 16 years.
Yeah.
Correct? So I will take the 16th house. When I say not the 16th house, obviously you go back, it's
the
12 plus 4. Yeah, the 4th house, correct? I would take the 4th house. But BCP will take not the 4th house, it will take the 5th house because you are actually running
on the next year. Okay.
You're running the next year. Do you understand?
Okay.
You get it? Yeah.
I guess that AV Sundaram concept runs more on the Western cycle of counting, versus the BCP is more on the Vedic side of counting, where 0 1 is 1.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is exactly. You're right. So it is Western, but it is not actually Western. It is a nadi concept.
Nadi, yeah.
Okay. So similarly, whenever you go and you turn the circle again, the 13th year would again be your first house. 14th year would be the second house, whatever you completed, right?
Yeah.
This is the concept. So you get this. Is this clear?
Yep. Now I get this. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's take this chart of Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And look at how his transits are going to work with this technique, right? And what houses are active in his chart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And see, how those could pan out in this year for him. So you can see he's born on 14th of June, 1946. And his place of birth is Jamaica, New York, in the United States of America. And the source that I have is Astro Data Bank and the Rodden rating. Rodden rating is, how good the chart is in terms of timing. It's got a double A. So I think it is fairly correct. Okay, it's almost accurate. That's what I understand from that rating. It's from the internet. So it's 951, Jamaica, New York. So by using the same logic that I told you, right? Now the concept here is you have to look not at the ascendant, you have to take the moon. Okay, I showed you there from the ascendant, so you understood the concept of how the timing of thing is done. But now look at the moon, right? Now let's start from when you say the 12th house from moon. 12 times 5 cycles, so he's already gone. So 60th year that he has completed would be the 12th house. Okay, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. 66, 67, 68, 69, 70.
Okay.
Now, this is the year that he has completed. Now, if you look, it's 1946 and you add 70 to it, it would be, it will bring you to 70 years as he has completed. So, this house becomes the most important house for this year for him.
Okay. No wonder.
Okay. Which is his lagna. So, it is about him coming out, him coming, being prominent. So that house has become very active now in his chart for this specific year. Okay, which will run from June 14th, 2016 to June 14th, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So this house is active. Now, what A.V. Sundaram says is from your moon, okay, your Rashi moon, go backwards the same number of times. So here you're counting 10 times forward because it's 10 houses from the 60th house, from the 60th year, which gives you 70 years, correct?
Yeah.
So count it backwards. What it means is start going in the opposite. If you're using the South Indian, you will be going clockwise first, and now you'll be going anti-clockwise. And if you're using the North Indian chart, you'll be going anti-clockwise, and now you'll be going clockwise. Okay?
Wait, back up a little bit. I didn't understand the concept of going back and forward. Why are we like doing the clock and counterclock?
Yeah, so this exactly what is the reason I was not able to clarify with Professor A.V. Sundaram, but he says there will be two houses which will be very important. So from the moon, you always go forward those many number of years, and you go backwards from the moon those many number of years. From your natal moon.
Okay.
Okay, when you say backwards, is if you're gone forward, you have to go backward the equal number of space. So how am I calculating this is Donald Trump, okay, he is in his 70th year, he's completed 70 years. And from the logic we have, 60 years would make his 12th house, and you're adding 10. So you're going 10 places forward in the first cycle. Now what you're doing is from the moon, you're going backwards.
Oh, from the moon we go backwards. Okay.
From the moon. Remember, from the moon it is what we went forward. Remember that. Do you want me to redo this? Let me redo this again. So now let's see here. Oh, I think, where are we? Here. Okay. Where is moon? The 60th year would be his Libra, correct? Now I'm going forwards. 10 spaces.
Yeah.
Correct? So from the moon, the 10th house from the moon, 10th house because it's 10 years from the 60th year gives you 70 years. So that is why 10 spaces forward will give you Leo, and that is his Lagna currently. Yeah. Okay. Now what I do in the next cycle is, what he says is go backwards from the moon. 10 spaces backwards, which means it should be 4 spaces from the moon forward. Okay. You understand this now?
Yeah.
So from the moon, 10 spaces forward, and from the moon, 4 spaces forward would give you the backward.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're running the second year, okay, if he was running, say he was 62, so it would be here. This house would be active, 62.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in the forward, this house would be active.
Okay.
You understand? So these two houses, which I'm saying, which is your Libra and your Sagittarius. If it is the 62nd year, it would be Libra and Sagittarius would be the two houses that you have to look and read the chart.
Okay.
Okay.
For transits.
For transits only.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. It's for transits only. So you get a unique house for each of you, no matter what your Lagna is. So you get 2 houses.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So these 2 houses, now you look on transits, if there are malefic, like Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, transiting, because Saturn and Rahu, Ketu are all slow moving planets.
Yeah.
If they're transiting, then you can say, okay, there might not be as many good things that would happen in that year because there are too many malefics. Similarly, if there is a Jupiter which is aspecting, or Jupiter aspects, then you can say, it's going to be a very good year for that person.
Okay.
Okay. Now look at this chart. Let's take the 7th house for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Okay. Which is his Aquarius. Right? Now, if you look at Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. Right?
Yeah.
Look at where the Saturn has gone in his chart. Saturn, if you see very closely, has gone to the 12th house from his Lagna. Now, whenever you read the chart, once you get these two houses, always read the chart from your ascendant only, not from the moon. When you're doing the technique, you see from the moon, but whenever you're reading the chart, you read the chart. Once you get those two houses, you read the chart from the ascendant only. You get that? Okay. Because moon, as I said, is your karmic patterns of your past. So that these two houses which are activated will say that some karmas related to these two houses will pan out in that year.
I see. Okay.
Okay. But when you read out the results, it should always be from the lagna. That is your natal lagna.
Okay.
You get that? Now, look at this chart here. Okay. Saturn and Venus are both sitting in Punarvasu. Okay. Punarvasu, the signification is light again. There was, return of light. Mm-hmm. This is the signification of Punarvasu. So his 7th house is activated, which is giving him prominence, but it has gone to the 12th house this year. Right? Now, what does Venus signify? What is the Karakata? It's a woman, isn't it? Yeah. Venus is usually significant. Now look, degrically, where his Saturn is. It is at 0 degrees. And there is a Venus which is sitting at 2 degrees in Punarvasu.
Yeah.
So what it signifies? Punarvasu means something which is repeating. Punar means repeat. Right? Now Venus signifies Hillary Clinton in his chart because she is recontesting the elections. She has run for the president before, now she's recontesting. But she is 2 degrees ahead of the Saturn, which gives him prominence. 7th house is Padaprapti, which gives you prominence.
Yeah.
Okay. And also see the axis of Rahu and Ketu in transit. Ketu is in Aquarius, Rahu is in Leo now.
Yeah.
So both his houses that you see, which are important, are under the influence of Rahu Ketu.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And the ruler of Leo is Sun. Sun is eclipsed by Rahu.
Yep.
So his image is eclipsed. He was born around an eclipse. You see, this Rahu Ketu axis, Sun and Moon. He was born on an eclipse, and he was born on a full moon day when there was an eclipse.
And if you look, his 6th lord is so weak that he always took on debts and filed for bankruptcies.
Yeah, but Punarvasu, which was bankruptcy, but again he bounced back. And
then he did 4 bankruptcies.
4 bankruptcies because of Punarvasu. If it was not for Punarvasu, this man would have remained bankrupt.
Yeah.
Okay, because his 10th lord, Venus, is with Saturn. His 6th house, I talked about bankruptcy there, going to the 12th house, litigations, going to bankruptcy. But it is Punarvasu, it's the rejuvenation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you've lost will be rejuvenated again if it is powerful. So this is a very powerful yoga in him. So he uses the loopholes in the system, okay, and he declares himself bankrupt, and then he again bounce backs.
Yeah.
That is the modus operandi of this man, because he knows that this is how he's using the legal loopholes in the system to go bankrupt and to use that into comeback.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, the axis is Rahu Ketu. And if you look at the dispositor of both of these axis lords, which is Sun for Leo and Saturn, they are not favorable for him. So somewhere he will come fighting very good, because 6th house is also about competition.
Yeah.
Okay. The 6th house is also about in Punarvasu. So he'll come back. I don't know whether he had filed his nominations earlier for during the primaries. I do not know. But I know about
he pretty much kicked everyone's ass in becoming the nominee.
Nominee? No, not this time. Any previous time?
No, never previous time. No.
Never. Okay. So if it was previous time, then I would be little bit, looking at this chart and looking at the Saturn, I would say there could be a chance if he had applied and if he had filed for nomination and he has lost that nomination in the past, then this could have been a very strong chart to have.
Oh, you're talking about in that sense.
Yeah.
He tried to run, I think, back in 2008 when Obama was, you know what, I have to check. I know he tried to run, but it didn't even last a month.
Okay. So we have to check whether he filed his papers, because that is important. It is not that he would have come up and said, I'm going to run for the US presidential primary, but did he actually file his nomination papers? That is very crucial for me. Why? Because when I look at the Venus there, Venus is at 2 degrees in Punarvasu, and I know that it is going to be a lady whom he is going to be pitted against.
Yeah.
Because Venus, okay, but Venus is also very strong there in Punarvasu. It is return. Okay, Punarvasu, the lady is returning, and she had filed for a nomination and she lost it. We all know that.
Yeah.
She ran for the US president and she.
That's right.
You know?
Damn.
So I'm nowhere indicating what is going to be the result, but I'm only hinting at things that she is going to be a very strong contender this time.
You know, it's just every time you come over, man, I just feel like a 5-year-old child when it comes to the way you decipher nakshatras is just amazing. I mean, the way you're looking at it, how return of the light, return of the woman, return of bankruptcy.
Exactly, bankruptcy. See, this is what I see. I gave you a basic technique, but until you go into nakshatras, this is where the real knowledge is. You would not be able to understand transits until you use nakshatras.
Yeah.
And apply all those principles of those nakshatras to decipher. Okay, it's a 12th house. I showed you how bankruptcy was operating everything, but he has bounced back every time. But that is why I asked you whether has he filed his nomination in any time. It should be filing of his nomination, not declaring on the media that I would like to run, because filing is very important. Okay, because that will show me some indication of this native. So, but as it stands today, and knowing very well, now there is the same technique. Okay, what I said, look from the moon, use the same concepts looking from your Mahadasha Lord, what you are running. Okay, now here it becomes very tricky, because what I saw that he is running is at his far, fag end of his Rahu Mahadasha. Okay, which according to Lahiri Ayanamsha that I'm using, it comes to roughly around the end of November, he'll be completing his Rahu Mahadasha. And his Jupiter Mahadasha would commence.
Okay.
Okay. But the elections are going to be in November first week. I think it's around the 8th.
So November 7th.
November 7th, yeah, whatever. So that is, he's very much in his Rahu Mahadasha. Now, if I use the same concept from Rahu Mahadasha, I still get the same houses, because Rahu is here. Okay, 10 houses from Rahu, both backwards and forwards, will give me the same houses. It's the same situation. If it was for a Jupiter Mahadasha, I think I would have changed my analysis, because from here, if I take 10 houses, Mercury is in his own house, and if I go 4 houses from here, is Jupiter's own house, where Mercury, the second lord and the 11th lord, is aspecting. So my analysis would have been very different if he was running. It would have been very mixed bag if he was running Jupiter Mahadasha.
Okay.
Because Jupiter becomes his 5th lord and the 8th lord. 5th lord is giving him, prominence.
But in this Mahadasha, like, he's not going to be making it.
I don't think so. This is,
Well, he's already starting to lose the big numbers. Like, he's Hillary's up by like 6 points in all the polls. So
I would still, although see, this is only one system. You should apply multiple ways to look at the same thing. But looking at this one system, I cannot come to any conclusion. But looking at the nakshatra, I would say the Venus is definitely ahead of his Saturn. If it was not for this 2 houses, if it was some 2 other houses, but he will definitely give a great fight, because Mars is in Magha nakshatra.
Okay.
Okay, whenever we're talking about this, Mars is, the warrior, the fighter.
Yeah.
So he will fight till the last, So, but I don't think this is my, I could be wrong. Only time can tell us. Let November come and it'll be clear. But if you ask me today, with the current transits is going through and the current dashas is going through, I think it is Hillary.
Okay.
I'm making a very bold statement, but I see Hillary.
Okay.
She is going to come up strongly because I know Venus is in Punarvasu in his chart, and Venus has gone for the nomination. She has lost it. Now it's return of light. She will be back to the bang. It's Castor and Pollux. Remember this, the two stars which are very prominent for Punarvasu is Castor and Pollux. These are the two stars.
Okay.
The Castor and Pollux are called the twin brothers. So one pulls something down, the other gives you. So, Castor is always the one who is negative, but Pollux is. So obviously what happens with Punarvasu people is there is always rejuvenation. They will come back. So it reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He says, I will be back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is, and if you look at Arnold's chart, I don't remember his chart very well, but if you look, maybe there could be something in his chart which is in Punarvasu, which gives him this prominence of saying, I will be back.
Yeah. I'll be back.
Right? That is Punarvasu for you. So Venus here, which is his third lord and 10th lord, is very prominent. And this is how you read. So read it from the moon, which is very, very important, and read it from your Mahadasha lord. So this is a very simple technique that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
So what this gives you the confidence is why? Because you might be a Leo Lagna, but depending on the age that you are, you definitely get two unique houses, which will be very important. And look at these two houses, and look at transits. If there are malefics, okay, then you can, if there are benefics aspecting those houses, but all the flavors for that year would come from these two houses.
Wow.
You get that?
Yeah. Does this also signify he could be having like marriage problems too?
Possibly, but you see, this is what I also said in my lectures. If you take people who have taken the course, this chart also signifies multiple marriages. Why? 7th Lord Saturn in Punarvasu, which means reputation. Divorce, and you will go for another marriage. So this is his third marriage. His wife is his third wife.
Yeah.
Right. So look at that. So it could also mean that 7th house is his businesses.
Yeah, multiple businesses too.
So all these businesses are pegged upon his presidential race. So it will actually decide what is going to happen to these businesses. They're going to be on, very important. Because what would be the result of his presidential elections?
Well, that's another thing. I think he's trying to sabotage his own presidency, because if he becomes a president, he has to leave his businesses. He cannot be involved in corporate life at all.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Why would he want to leave his multi-million dollars behind for like $400,000 a year salary of a president?
Correct.
He probably makes that in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So
absolutely.
That's the thing.
But whatever happens, you see his businesses are going to do well. You look at his, Jupiter is going to transit over his natal Jupiter, which is the 5th lord and 8th lord. So 8th lord is also about inheritances and, unearned wealth, gambling. Mm-hmm. 5th house is also about gambling. 8th house is something that you have not earned by your own effort. So these houses are going to get activated. So no matter what the result of these elections are, his business is, I guess, definitely after.
But does it matter if his Jupiter is retrograde?
Oh, that could make some difference. Yes.
Yeah.
Jupiter is retrograde. So remember, his wealth.
Think about the
reversal of fortunes as well.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. These are only. These are mundane things that we are talking about. And
perfect.
Yeah.
Your battery is running too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so I think, Kapil, unless you have any more questions, I think.
No. Thank you so much for coming and doing this for us.
Okay. Thanks very much, Kapil.
Bye-bye.